Thank you so much for joining us in the afternoon edition, where we go behind the news to bring you stories that are relevant to you. My name is Joy Radimini Asonye. Yesterday on the show, we tried to connect with our energy correspondents to talk about the persistent fuel queues in parts of the FCT. I think all parts of the FCT. Well, we were unable to do that because of technical issues. She's right here with us to discuss why we are seeing fuel queues. Her name is Joycelyn Lakeche. She's the ASO Radio and Television energy correspondent. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, we also have an international public affairs analyst. He is Dr. Jennings Ekanyao. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It promises to be very interesting, but we'll go for a very short break. When we come back, we'll delve into the issues at hand. Stay with us. Okay, sorry about that short break we had to take to fix some technical issues. Let's just go straight to why are we having fuel queues again? I mean, and the NNPC came out some time ago to say it was due to low loadout, which is as a result of the celebrations and festivities we just came out of. But then I ask, wasn't it planned for? Are we going to be experiencing this each time we have any celebration in the country?
Yes, thank you. Joy, if you noticed in that press statement, they said likely, meaning they are not 100% sure. Because honestly, there is no reason why we should be having the queues we're having right now. There's enough fuel. There's enough, whatever you want to call it, PMS.
Right.
We have enough in the country. I just feel that independent marketers like to take advantage of the situation.
Wow.
I mean, you go to a fuel station, you have over 100 cars queued up to get fuel, and you have just one pump selling. We Nigerians, we like to see ourselves suffer.
But shouldn't that be? I mean, it's no longer DPR now.
Yes.
It's now. I mean, I can't seem to get the idea. But yes,
body. Yes,
the mandate still stands. Why aren't they doing their jobs? I mean, if independent marketers have this product down, why are they not selling? People are suffering so much.
If you get there, they will tell you we don't have the product. There was such a time
they will go from station to station,
yes,
ensuring the check for the product.
And I can assure you that, this just started. I can assure you that they're gearing up towards that.
Wow.
They're gearing up towards that. Because if you look at the situation in the FCT right now, and pardon me, it's not just the FCT. I made some calls yesterday. Lagos seems to be experiencing the same thing. Yes, there might be, low loadout. I'm not saying that situation did not happen. It sure did happen. But I am expecting that by the end of this week, we stop seeing these queues. Because how long is it going to take a truck from whichever destination. You will definitely go to a depot closer to you. If you're closer to Lagos, you go to a depot closer to Lagos or Warri. How long will it take these tankers to get to their destination? Highest 4 days. So if we've been having this situation as from Sunday,
it
let's
should
say
be cleared
it's still,
by now.
The weekend. By Thursday, Friday, this situation should have cleared. So if this situation persists beyond this weekend, then I would I don't know, can I call it a sabotage? Because the NNPC comes out over and over to say, we have so much products that will last us 43 days. Even in their recent press release, it's still in there. We have this product. All we need you people to do, come and load, if that is why you are not having. Okay, you know why I say we like to suffer ourselves? That one pump that is selling, why not increase it to 5? And if you run out of it, let's say, okay, yeah.
You don't have.
You've run out of it. Why are you selling why one pump?
Maybe it's malfunctioning. Maybe a lot of stations have
in the whole of FCT.
I'm not sure what to say, because it is so sad to see that this is self-inflicted.
Yes.
Nigerians just want to intentionally.
The government for everything. The government did not provide this. The government did not do this for us. But what are we doing as citizens to make things right?
Before I let you go, what do you say to motorists right now suffering? I mean, the queues are horrible, to say the least.
Panic buying. You see, on Monday, I like I said, I went round to do a report, and I noticed some people still have like half tank. And I'm like, but you still have fuel. I say, maybe tomorrow I will not have again, so I better join the queue today.
But you won't blame
them. And of course,
them.
when you see this, when these marketers see this queue, is an opportunity for their fuel attendees to make money. This is the truth of the situation.
You have to add something.
And again, what I find out, in all of this is the agency that is assigned to actually enforce, the supply of these products, are not really doing what they should be doing to, sanction the marketers, sanction the gas stations, because you find, a lot of folks, selling fuels, from jerry cans, and it's not really good.
And the funny thing is, the black marketers don't seem to have scarcity.
Yes, because
somehow
they pay the attenders 500 naira per jerry can. So the full attendees want to make money out of this. We like to take advantage of every situation. That's the problem we have. We love to take advantage of every situation. You go to a fuel station and with your jerry can in your car for your generator, they will tell you, sorry,
and that
we don't sell in jerry cans.
Exactly.
But
they remember that it's a fire hazard when it's you.
Yes, but when these black marketers that have an arrangement with them already come with their jerry cans, I mean, those guys, I was in the fuel station on Sunday, and these guys come in their keke, napep vehicles, loaded with jerry cans, 25 liters. And
that in itself 15. Is such a fire hazard.
Yes, 15. And that's 500 naira per jerry can. So imagine how much that... Remember, this money is not going into the coffers of that fuel station.
Yes.
It's going into the pocket of the attendee. So tell me, would he not prefer to sell for that person?
Wow. If there is light at the end of the tunnel, just share. It should Nigerians...
I can assure you, the last time when we had, some few weeks back when we had this situation, the regulatory body came out and they started going around the fuel stations. They started mandating some of them to sell for 24 hours. And so I can attest to that some fuel stations were selling for 24 hours.
I know that's what stopped
very sure.
That, yeah.
This things, it's in process. There are meetings it's government. There are meetings that have to be held with heads of agencies, even the union of these independent marketers. You cannot just go to them. They have a union,
right.
And once all of that is rounded up, you would see that the regulatory body will kick in and start taking action. And we had some fuel stations locked up the last time.
Yes, I remember, and that's what actually
that's what led to the
enforcement.
Yes,
enforcing the law. Making sure that people are compliant.
Yes.
Because we have too many things we let go in this country, and people are doing stuff, and we're letting them go.
Exactly.
Go off it, So there should be sanction. There should be enforcement, there should be compliance. The NMPC as the parent body should be up and doing.
Right.
Let's see them up and do it to de-emphasize that notion that there's a scarcity.
Yeah.
And when there's scarcity, there are tendencies for people to manipulate the system. And she rightly said, that people are really going through a lot. To an average, movement right now will cost you like 1,500 to 2,000. So everything has doubled.
Of course, that's the ripple effect of this. Okay, Elakache Joycelyn, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you talk about this sector that you are so passionate about. I will call you again. I hope not. I hope it's not during another scarcity, but just to throw light on the oil and gas sector. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll go on a short break and then continue afterwards. Stay with us.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened.
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet her for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please. Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenants now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow
The new police law. Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened.
Welcome back. Now, the Nigerian Senate has re-amended for the third time the Electoral Act 2020 to include provisions which enable statutory delegates to vote at the congresses or conventions of political parties. This followed the expeditious consideration of a bill during plenary, which scaled first, second, and third readings respectively, and was passed during plenary by the Chamber after consideration by the Committee of the Whole. Those identified as statutory delegates include President, Vice President, members of the National Assembly, governors and their deputies, members of the Houses of Assembly, chairmen of council, councillors, National Working Committee of Political Parties, amongst others. The bill amended the 2022 Electoral Act number 13 was sponsored by the Deputy Senate President Ovie Omoagege. Omoagege, in his presentation, said the bill seeks to amend the provisions of Section 84, subsection 8 of the Electoral Act. According to him, the provisions of the section does not provide for the participation of what is generally known as statutory delegates in the conventions, congresses, or meetings of political parties.
Profound pleasure to have the privilege of leading the debate on this very important bill we seek to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make provision for delegates who, not being elected ad hoc delegates, as prescribed in the constitution of a political party and the Electoral Act, to participate in the convention, congress, or meeting of the party. Mr. President, this bill was read for the first time on the floor of the Senate today, Tuesday, the 10th day of May 2022. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the issue here is narrow and very straightforward. Mr. President, as couched, Section 84, Subsection 8 of the Electoral Act 2022 does not provide for the participation of what is generally known as statutory delegates in the conventions, congresses, or meetings of political parties. The extant subsection only clearly provides for the participation of elected delegates in the conventions, congresses, or meetings of political parties held to nominate candidates for political parties. Mr. President, this is an unintended error, and we can only correct it with this amendment now before us. The passage of this bill, Mr. President, my colleagues, will further strengthen our electoral system.
Separate the people
Okay, so we have seen how this section has been added to, or rather re-amended, and it's so fast. A lot of people have said that there are several acts and bills that have been there for so long, and the amendment takes so long. Do you say it was swift because the elections are just by the corner, and that is why they had to quickly include this clause? Moreover, remember, how would it have? I don't understand how we missed it in the first place. That the president would have been unable to vote at a convention, the vice president, chairman, and all of that. Is it not funny that we missed it in the first place?
Well, the way I see, all of this is purely political. Political in the sense that people want, generally speaking, everyone is entitled to his or her opinion. But in this case, the Congress or the National Assembly, precisely the Senate, deem it fit to say, okay, listen, this is what we find out in the first instance, and we're going back to correct, the anomaly or the error that was, passed in the first place. So if it's for the good of the Nigerian people, because for me, democracy is about the people and for the people, by the people. So like I said, it's a politics of inclusiveness or politics of inclusion that everybody must participate, just to have a feel of what democracy is all about. So
now the president had wanted the clause 8 of Section 84 amended, and that was ignored. Do you think that at this point the president was sent to this reamendment since, the
you remember when this bill was passed into law, it was tested in the court, a federal high court in Abia State, gave impetus to that particular law, that particular session, and later the whole thing, became more political, more sensitive in the true sense that they looked at it and said, this will not favor. It doesn't matter whether it's APC or PDP that's in power right now. It's for posterity, and you look at things based on political posterity, for the benefit of the Nigerian people. Like I said, democracy is for the people and by the people and for the people. So if the people are not carried along in this system called democracy, then it doesn't make sense to be called democracy. So I think the Senate has done so well in amending
pointing
that bill, and that's also will give impetus to our electoral system.
Okay, let's move forward. Yeah. Except there's something really important you need to add.
No, not really.
Okay, so let's move forward to the rejection of INEC. The Independent National Electoral Commission has turned down the appeal for an extension of the deadline for the conduct of primaries by political parties. The country's 18 registered political parties, through the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, on Tuesday, asked the Commission to review its timetable and schedule of activities to afford member parties enough time to put their houses together. The body's appeal made at a quarterly meeting with the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, came days after it was reported that the moves of political parties to extend the dates, that the political parties made moves to extend the dates by another 37 days. Mr. Yakubu, on 2 different occasions last week, reiterated the Commission's stance of not changing its June 3rd deadline for the primaries of the 18 political parties. INEC had reviewed its schedule for 2023 general elections in Nigeria in February after President Muhammadu Buhari assented to the 2022 Electoral Act. I listened to an interview with the Inter-Party Advisory Council chairman, who said a lot had happened, which necessitated the need to extend the date by 37 days. And a lot of Nigerians are asking, you should have you had 4 years to put your houses together. What more days can you possibly need, and what can you do with those days?
I think politically, nothing is sacrosanct. It all depends on where this pendulum swings, or is swinging to. Nothing is sacrosanct. Law is not sacrosanct. Law is made by the people, and the people can decide to amend the law if the law is anti the people, or is not beneficial to the people. So the electoral body, the INEC, there's nothing about the law made by the INEC that is sacrosanct, that cannot be changed, that cannot be amended. It all depends how to do within the ambit of electoral law. And the electoral law permits a certain elasticity, that you have to look at it from the both sides of the divide, and is this thing doable? Is this thing achievable? Is it within the electoral law? And if you look at the guidelines of the INEC, you find that the guidelines is not very elaborative. It's not very elaborate. It's very tight. It doesn't allow political party to play with time, and political party don't have the luxury of time to within this electoral guideline. So it's neither here nor there. So I think for
one of the reasons that was put forward was that the couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, we had over 2 different festivities, and we had to go on short breaks, and those celebrations affected work time, and it must have affected the activities that political parties would have done. A lot of people find that kind of excuse really trivial. And in the academics, there is a plan, there is a roadmap with dates as to when you do what. The curriculum doesn't change. Is it possible that there is a scheming, because a lot of people have started speculating that political parties today are coming together, there's something they are not telling us?
Yeah, if you say that like, for example, in the learning institution, that's a curriculum, A curriculum can be spaced out. A curriculum can be compressed. A curriculum can. But the most important thing is that curriculum it has a target to achieve.
Exactly.
So I think it's not sacrosanct.
However,
it's not sacrosanct.
I mean, it's not sacrosanct.
Yeah, that INEC, that the laws made by INEC cannot be amended.
It can.
Yeah,
However,
the
the question is...
Yeah, those people who are operating in that INEC are human beings. They are not spirits.
However,
they're not robots. Let me make a point. The point I'm saying is that no matter the reasons or the arguments, brought by both political parties because of the long period of holidays, for me, those arguments, it doesn't hold water. The most important thing is that parties have the laxity to do what they want to do as long as they're doing it within the ambit of the electoral law. So if they are asking the INEC to look into the electoral guideline, to amend or review, there's nothing wrong about it. So what the INEC should be doing right now is to work in synergy, because
you just admitted that their reason doesn't hold water. Could that be the reason why INEC did not take
what I said, their
seriously?
reason doesn't hold water doesn't mean that what they're saying does not make sense. But it's not really enough for that kind of presentation, that kind of asking for the INEC. Once the electoral law has been set, it doesn't mean that it cannot be amended. In time of emergency, they can make provision for other things in case there's emergency, just like as we have the fuel scarcity right now.
Exactly.
There should be provision for emergency in case of this kind of crisis happens. How do we manage it? There should be provision. So that's why I said nothing is sacrosanct. The INEC cannot say, they will run this through and without, because people are they envisage.
INEC also have envisaged the timetable for themselves. They need enough time to also prepare for the general election.
Because at the end of the day, if some of the presentation or argument are not properly, looked into, somebody can go to court to sue for hearing. It can say, okay, that democracy allows, a kind of provision, that you cannot say that people can have
well, INEC also has a case to say that we have engaged with the political parties from time to time, even because one of the reasons was by the IPAC, that's the Inter-Party Advisory Council, is that the Electoral Act was consented to late. So they too have to put their houses together. However, INEC has a case to say we engaged with political parties at intervals to ensure they understand the time frame, they understand what is expected of them within the time frame.
Yeah.
So, well, let's move on.
So it all depends on what you mean by time frame.
Yeah, well, if INEC gives you, if the university gives you a time frame, you don't go back to say, I want an examination extended.
Okay, for example, the ASU strike that's on now, a course they're supposed to do for 4 years, probably end up doing it for 6 years. So the university system has to also consider that it wasn't the making of the students, it wasn't the making of the lecturer themselves. Then there has to be a compromise. There has to come at a round table, to look at, because at the end of the day, it's for the interest of the nation.
Exactly.
If INEC does not look at some of these factors or some of these suggestions by the political parties, and they go into elections and go into election unprepared, that will also affect the quality of the election. So you have to look at what people are saying. You can't know it all, and see where you can now say, let us come to a compromise, because life is about compromise. There must be like the ASU now. The government must come to a compromise with the ASU, and the ASU must come to compromise with the government. There must be a middle point. They can't say they want to continue the strike, and the government they cannot say they will not listen to the ASU. So there must be a compromise where all the parties
before
are involved.
we let this topic rest, Why do you think Nigerians are going gaga, so to speak, about this, suspecting some sort of scheming going on? Why do you think that is? Why are we not trusting that it could just be
When you mean scheming, I don't understand what you mean by
exactly.
scheming.
I don't understand it, but a lot of Nigerians are saying things like, what are they boiling in that pot? Why are political parties coming? I mean, the political parties coming together to say, give us an extended time. What could be behind this?
Well, if you ask me, as a politician and as somebody that understands political strategy, anyway, even in America too, the system that we run is American system of democracy, but it's not really the full implementation of the American system. Some of the features of the American system of democracy, of government, it's what we're practicing. Just like you have the one electoral body, like in America is states. States run the electoral system. So every state.
So they go from time to time out of schedule?
Well, because they have to even amendments. The states said some states because the system of Texas is different from the system of Atlanta, or Boston or California. So it's but everybody's running the same democracy. That there's a what I call concurrent system where everybody is running the same race at the same time, but there has to be a focus. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So, like the burden where is one electoral system that is being operated in Nigeria. It's so cumbersome for the national body, national INEC, to run one huge electoral system. Like if we have the FCT electoral board, they have Nasarawa State, Kano State. Everybody is running the same race. So they have their mandate. They have their their policy, laid down how to run electoral system. But everything has to be within the American or within the system, the Constitution, what the Constitution entails. So, but in Nigeria, it's one electoral body, and that's why it's cumbersome, and that's why it's expensive, and that's why most times the INEC is asking for money because they have to look at the logistics, look at all kinds of things to run a national electoral body. So it's not easy. It's not easy. So for me, if you ask me, I'll say decentralize the INEC.
That's more than
we can have states to run the way it should.
It should. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk zoning. Yeah. So far, it's only been speculated, but there is no the political parties. I mean, the two popular political parties, that's the All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party, has not come out to say we are zoning to a certain place. People have speculated that the APC would zone to the south, while others have speculated that it will zone. The PDP would leave its zoning open. Why do you think it's such a big deal for these political parties, just a year to the general elections, or less than a year to the general elections, to zone?
Yes, zoning, for me, it's unconstitutional. It's never an agreed something, and anything that you do that is not based on constitution, it becomes fraud. So for me, zoning is a political convenience of political parties in Nigeria to maneuver the system how best it can suit them. Like in America, power is shared between the North and South. So, and there was a time, even in the history of America, where a particular president or vice president came for one particular zone. We have seen that happen in Nigeria, where in 1993, I think during Abiola, MK Abiola, of blessed memory, and Ambassador, what's his name again? As vice president, and both were Muslims, And at the time the election happened, the Nigerian people didn't complain, and that particular election was smooth. It was a smooth election, and it was overwhelming. That even the opponent, who's from Kano, lost votes from Kano because both tickets were Muslim. So I don't see zoning as a factor in the Nigerian political setting. What I see,
or a necessary factor.
It's not a necessary factor.
Do you think Nigeria's political...
Like I said, it's a political convenience of political parties to use zoning to maybe to achieve certain set of goals of their political interests. Because if you look at what is power and politics, and when you talk about power, you're talking about governance.
But are we there yet?
Well, it depends on how the Nigerian politicians, because people say the Nigerian politicians.
Let's look at the Nigerian electorate. Are we there yet?
Well, the Nigerian electorate, because like I always say that democracy again is about those that can vote and those that can be voted for. Because not everybody is eligible to vote. You see what I'm saying? Because if you haven't reached certain age where the Constitution says that you must attain to this age before you are eligible to vote. And if you're not electable, and what I mean by electable means that this is what the Constitution says that you are qualified. You must meet certain requirements, and that guarantees you to be elected. Because you can't just elect a little baby of 1 year, because the little baby of 1 year
less than 18.
That's right. So what I find out in this, or in all of this, is that zoning system in Nigeria does not bring the best in the Nigerian political system. Rather, it's like a consideration. Let's give it in. For me, if you ask me, zoning system is not because democracy is about competition. Right. Democracy is about equal participation. It's like democracy is like the survival of the fittest. Nobody can give you power. Nobody can forcibly give you power, and you can't end this power. You have to fight for it. It's a negotiation. You have to sit down, and because it's about interest group. Because anybody that's going to give you power will what is there for me?
Exactly.
If I'm going to give you this power, what is there for me? If I'm zoning this thing to this particular region, what is there for me? What am I going to benefit? Because it's look at the aggregatization of the Nigerian politics. It's about interest group, and when you talk about interest group, you talk about institutions like the religious institution, traditional institution, the military institution, the political institution, the academic institution. So what is there for all these interest groups? Because there must be a representation of the interest group. If you're zoning this thing to a particular region, what is there for this region? Exactly. What will I benefit if I allow this to go? I think yes.
You won't believe it, but we've run out of time. That's what happens when we're having a good time.
Yeah, zoning is not a constitutional thing.
Right.
Like all the political parties, like all the political parties, like the PDP, the APC, they have saying the policy issue. They say no, we will not zone it. We will zone it. It all depends on what the Nigerian people. Because even if you zone it to a particular region, and the Nigerian people said that we will not vote for this particular person. So, like for example, in PDP right now, they are having crisis or who to zone. Some saying, oh, Atiku. Some saying this. For me, if you ask me, let it be open. Let it be an open competition.
Right.
Let the best come out.
Dr. Jennings,
yes.
Dr. Jennings, thank you so much for your time with us today. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you very much.
Like I was trying to say earlier, time flies when you're having a good time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So my name is Joy Asonye. Until tomorrow when we continue with the afternoon edition, have a wonderful afternoon.